Greetings, everybody. I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to my final 2017 Halloween blog on Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, originally, I was planning to blog it, but according to my rules, if a book is split into 2 or 3 films, I would have to talk about them both in a blog. So, my It blog will have to wait until part 2 comes out in 2019. Anyway, for this blog, let's talk about a novelist named Ray Bradbury. Some of you folks out there might know him for such interesting stories like Fahrenheit 451, The Foghorn, and of course, Something Wicked This Way Comes. And in my opinion, these stories are good stories to read, and it's sad that Ray is no longer with us as of 2012. However, on the topic of Ray Bradbury, I'm going to blog a movie that I've known about, but not watched when I was a kid. So just sit back, grab some Halloween candy, and let's get started. Released to television in October of 1993, the movie is The Halloween Tree. In this story, 4 children are struggling to come to terms with the illness of their close friend Pipkin. As they get ready for Halloween, Pip takes a turn for the worse. But as he is taken to the hospital in an ambulance, the kids see what appears to be Pip's ghost running through the woods. The kids give chase and happen upon Mr. Moundshroud, the mysterious proprietor of a local spook house, who gives the children a crash course on the history of Halloween and its traditions. So, what do I think of this movie? Well, this was a ghoulishly good movie, and it was very interesting. But, before I get ahead of myself, let's move on to Mustang Notes. The movie was directed by Mario Puzo, and joining him was Gordon Hunt as recording director, Jill Ziegenhagen as talent coordinator, Chris Zimmerman as both recording director and animation casting director, David Kirshner as executive producer, and Mark Young as co-executive producer. The music for The Halloween Tree was composed by John Debney, who composed for movies like Jetsons the Movie, Hocus Pocus, Inspector Gadget, and of course the Jungle Book remake from last year. And in my opinion, the music for this movie is very mysterious and haunting. What's more, The Halloween Tree won the 1994 Emmy Award for Outstanding Writing in an Animated Program and was nominated for Outstanding Animated Program. So, I guess you guys are probably wondering how I came across this movie even though I never watched it on television or on VHS as a kid. Well, like the Swan Princess, I've seen a trailer of The Halloween Tree on the In Search of Dr. Seuss VHS. And that trailer got me very interested in watching it. But, sadly, I wasn't able to find it in stores up until 2012 when I finally got a DVD copy from Target, which is where I work nowadays. Also, during my high school age, I managed to come across the original 1972 book and did a book report on it. And from what I can tell, the movie changes the novel's group of night travelers from 8 boys to 3 boys and a girl. Now here's where we come to the animation. And you guys are not going to believe which company was responsible for it. Yep, believe it or not, the animation was produced by Hanna-Barbera. And in my opinion, the animation does great in capturing the spirit of Halloween. Also, the places and time periods our main heroes go to while trying to rescue their friend look very great too. In Egypt, the kids learn about the Feast of the Ghosts, where the Egyptians leave out food for the dead, and they learn about the significance of mummification. In Stonehenge, United Kingdom, they learn about the Celtic rituals and about witches. One of the most interesting facts is that in those days, people were considered witches due to their knowledge and wisdom. I mean, think about it. Karina in Pirates of the Caribbean 5 was treated like a witch for the very same reason. However, one fact that is missing from this movie is that the term witch comes from Wiccan. But we have Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost for that, and I've already talked about that movie 2 years ago. Also, Stonehenge in this movie makes me remember the time when I went there back in summer of 2010. In Paris, France, the kids learn about Notre Dame's use of gargoyles and demons. In my opinion, while this part of the movie makes me think of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, it's cool that the kids finish building the church by climbing it. And finally, in Mexico, the kids learn about the significance of skeletons during Dia de los Muertos, which I talked about when I blogged the Book of Life 3 years ago. And of course, we're getting another movie that focuses on the Mexican Halloween, which will be in theaters next month, courtesy of Pixar. Anyway, in my opinion, this style of Halloween is very colorful, with the use of costumes, music, and treats like sugar skulls. Man, I wish I could try one of those someday. Now let's talk about the titular Halloween tree. In the story, this is an old spooky tree that has pumpkins all over the branches. Each pumpkin represents a person's soul. However, in my opinion, Disneyland's Halloween tree looks more festive. And I hope someday, if the Halloween tree becomes a live-action film, I hope Disney will be able to distribute it. Anyway, now that we got Mustang notes out of the way, let's move on to the characters and their voice actors. The leader of the gang, Tom Skelton, is voiced by Eden Gross, whom I remember as the voice of Flounder from Season 2 and 3 of the Little Mermaid TV series. Tom is dressed like a skeleton for Halloween. My favorite scene that Tom is involved with is when he apologizes to Pip, admitting that he felt guilty because he wanted something bad to happen to Pip, so that Tom could be the leader of the group for once. Which, of course, Pip forgives him. And I really like the part where Tom and the other kids offer Mound Shroud a year from the end of their lives in exchange for Pip's return. Ralph is voiced by Alex Greenwald, best known as the lead singer of the California rock band Phantom Planet. In this movie, Ralph is dressed like a mummy for Halloween, and in my opinion, it's cool that his dad, who is in fact a doctor, helped wrap Ralph up in gauze. My favorite scene in this movie that involves Ralph is the part where Ralph scares the Egyptian priests and remembers the time when Pip was the only one who never made fun of his glasses. Next is Jenny, voiced by Annie Barker. In my opinion, Jenny is really cute, and I think it's cool that she tied 2 brooms to her bicycle while she's dressed like a witch for Halloween. I like the part where Jenny remembers the time when Pip rescued her from an apple tree. Also, the scene where she overcomes her fear of heights while flying on a broomstick makes me think of Harry Potter in a way. Next up we have Wally, voiced by Andrew Keegan. Wally is dressed as a monster for Halloween. I like the scene where he summons numerous shadows of gargoyles to Notre Dame, which turn into stone when they take their seat on the tower. And of course, I like the scene where Wally remembers the time when he and Pip set off fireworks in his bedroom, and Pip took the blame for him. Next is Pipkin, voiced by Kevin Michaels. To me, while watching this movie, Pip is a very important character. His friends consider Pip to be the greatest kid ever, and he seems like a very nice kid to hang around with. However, that doesn't prevent him from getting an appendicitis. However, mostly throughout this movie, Pip is a ghost on the run from Moundshroud with a pumpkin that looks like him. Pip can also take on many different shapes, like a shadow, a black cat, a stone gargoyle, and he was able to be found in a mummy sarcophagus, riding on a broomstick, in the Notre Dame Tower, and in a Mexican catacomb. Next we come to Mr. Moundshroud, voiced by the late, great Leonard Nimoy. Best known from Star Trek, The Pagemaster, Atlantis the Lost Empire, and of course, the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Now, Moundshroud is not really the antagonist, but he is a bit eccentric. Plus, he does have business to take care of involving Pip. Also, I think Moundshroud is great when teaching the kids about the origins of their costumes and of Halloween itself. Plus, his big speech at the end of the movie is pretty epic. And finally, the narrator is voiced by Ray Bradbury himself, which in my opinion is a real blessing. Not only that, but Ray also wrote the screenplay for the movie. How awesome is that? And now let's move on to my final words. Overall, The Halloween Tree is a great movie to watch during the Halloween season. The animation by Hanna-Barbera is pretty good, the music by John Debney is excellent, and Ray Bradbury's narration is fantastic. The kids are relatable, including Pip, plus Moundshroud is an awesome character. And to me, it's one of Leonard Nimoy's best performances. What's more, this movie is very educational and could help you and your family learn something about the history of Halloween. For every generation, for every imagination, The Halloween Tree is destined to be a family classic, as timeless as Halloween itself. So, with that said, it gives me great honor to award this movie with a full 100%. Well, that concludes my 2017 Halloween Marathon, boils and ghouls. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on each of these haunting and thrilling movies during this month. So be sure to join me for my next blog. Mustang Power. Oh, and Happy Halloween.